Happy Monday, knitters. I'm Louise from Wildflower Wool, and it is Monday, which means that this is a brand new episode of New Start Monday Knits. I have got 2 new projects cast on to show you. I'll give you a peek at how the projects went that I started last week. I have another pattern that I've been working on that was started a few weeks ago, and I have an update on my sweater. So as always, let's start right in on the finished dishcloth from last week. So last week when I did my video, I had a couple of inches done on this dishcloth. This is the ridged, yes, that's right, ridged rib stitch. And I knit this in, I love this cotton. The colorway is banana. And this is really nice. It's a reversible fabric. A lot of people were excited about this pattern, and I know some people cast it on as a dishcloth, and my friend Lisa actually cast it on as a blanket. She had some yarn in her stash, and she asked what I thought, if it would make a great blanket, and I think it will. She cast on, sent me a picture, and it does look great. So that's pretty exciting. So if you're interested at all in this stitch pattern, you can check out last week's video in the comment box. The pattern is written out there for you. So that was the 3rd dishcloth I had gotten out of that ball of I Love This Cotton. I didn't quite finish it, so I cast on a 2nd dishcloth. And I just used the super simple diamond dishcloth pattern, and I just alternated 2 rows. I cast on with the blue, did a couple of rows, then I just did 2 rows of yellow, 2 rows of the blue, 2 rows of the yellow, and I increased up to about 35 stitches. I was planning to make this a little smaller because I thought I was going to run out of yellow cotton. I think every time I try to do this, this always backfires on me. I should have made it a little bit wider because I ended up with this little teeny weeny little bit left over. So I'm not 100% finished this ball of cotton either. So at some point I'll cast on another scrappy dishcloth and just do color block something just to finish up that little bit. But this blue that I worked in here, this was from that large ball of Bernat Handicrafter. And I'm not sure what the colorway is of the blue because there is no ball band on that ball. So 2 finished dishcloths, everybody. Definitely way ahead on my dishcloth challenge. I still have not had time to actually count my dishcloths to see what I'm at. Hopefully I'm over 30, but I really don't know. Last week I did good. I got 4 done. This week I've got 2 done. And of course I have another one cast on. So maybe what shall I show you? Should I show you the new cast-ons or? No, you know what I'm really excited about? This is what I'm going to show you. This next project has been my go-to all week long. Every time I've been on a Zoom call or any kind of Facebook Messenger chatting with fellow knitters, well, really anybody that I've been chatting to that I've been knitting as I've been chatting, this is the project that I have reached for because there's no pattern to follow. I can read my knitting, I can pick it up and set it down, pick it up again, and know by looking at my stitches exactly what colors I'm using and where I am in the pattern. So remember this scarf, everybody, these 3 colors. This is Patons, actually Patons. Tina left me a message and reminding me that it is actually pronounced Patons, which, you know, I did know that, but I think in all the years I've been using this yarn, I think I've only ever heard one person pronounce it that way. I grew up hearing my grandmother say Patons, and I don't know, it's just kind of stuck. Anyways, Patons, tomato, I don't know. Anyways, I don't know. So that's the question now. Should I try to switch and call it Patons? Everybody else still calls it Patons? I don't know. The jury's still out on that. Maybe I'll just I've called it Patons for so long that I'll probably default to that anyways without even realizing it. So it is classic wool. This is the DK Superwash. I've switched balls. I've knit my original 3 colors, Flagstone, Apple Green, I finished, and my original purple ball didn't have a ball band on it, so I can never tell you what the color way was, and this one is eggplant. So I finished all 3 50-gram balls, and these are the second ball in each color that I've got joined into my scarf. So you know what that's going to mean. If I'm on my second ball, you know it's got to be getting quite large. So are you ready? I'm pretty excited. I don't know. You guys all know me. Little things excite me. And this makes me pretty happy. Look at the length of the scarf, you guys. Look at how long it is. So if you haven't seen the last couple of videos, if you're just joining us for the first time, welcome. And this is a two-handed Fair Isle pattern that I like to do. I use 3 colors in the whole project, but only 2 colors in each round. The third color just sits, and I just have a pattern that I follow, dropping 1 color, picking up another, working my way around with 2 colors. I get around to my stitch marker, and then I drop 1 color, move my 1 color to the next hand, and pick up the color that's been resting, and then I just keep going round and round and round. I think I cast on 88 stitches. I just cast on enough to fill this 16-inch needle because I wanted a long skinny scarf. I got a tape measure here. Let's just see what the width is on this. Yeah, it's about 5.5 inches. I mean, usually I like 6 inches, but whatever. I think it'll be fine. It's going to be long enough. We're going to be able to wrap it around. So it's just a tube scarf going round and round. There's no purling. It is just all knitting and color work. Cast on. It is rolling right now, but I think I'm going to just put a fringe on here at the end, save enough yarn to make some tassels, and that will solve the rolling problem. This was where I moved my marker up to last Monday night. After I did last week's video, I moved my marker up, and this is how much I have knit. If I fold that in half, I have more than doubled what I had already worked on last week. That is pretty exciting. I really, really like this. I think I'm going to play around definitely with this color work technique a little bit more and try some different colors and see what else I can come up with. But I'm really liking these colors, liking how it knits, super easy, and I think the colored pattern turns out really great. I might actually be sad when this one's finished. Okay, what else? Last week, I had started, my second new start from last week was my double knit scarf that I've cast on. So again, Patton's Croy. And these guys have no ball bands on them either. So this was a blue, I don't know what colorway. I think this might be, I'm gonna say copper or clover FX, I believe. One of those those are the 2 that are kind of jumping out at me, but don't quote me on that because I do not know for sure. Anyways, my double knitting. I'll show you what the pattern is. It's a Lucy Neat Bee pattern, bubble scarf, and this is so I'm working on down here the color work to make it look like ribbing. It's just 1 color. 1 of blue, 1 of orange, and this is how it's knitting. So this is the blue side with orange stripes, and then double knitting because it is a reversible fabric with opposite colors. This is the orange side with blue stripes. So if I fold it like this, there. So last week I had said that I wasn't sure if I was going to actually put the bubbles in my bubble scarf or not. And Amanda left me a comment. She's like, oh my goodness, you have to put the circles in. And I really think I will. I'm really having fun though, just working in the the stripes. But I think I'll do a little bit longer. I could actually check and see what the pattern says for how long to go. I think I'll just go as long as I want. And then I will switch and I'll start putting in some bubbles, because that will be really fun. What is next? Okay, let me show you my new starts for this week. Might as well start with the dishcloth, because you know every week I've got a dishcloth, because I really am hoping that I'm going to get myself knit all through my cotton stash, because it is if I'm running short on any yarns, it will be my dishcloth cotton. So I'm hoping I can pretty much get it knit if I work on 1 or 2 or more dishcloths a week. So now this pattern is a lace panel. It is, I think it is called tunnel lace, and it is really kind of an interesting little pattern. I don't know, like with any lace, it probably needs to be blocked. So I'm not sure if this is really going to be the best choice for a dishcloth. I don't want it to stretch, right? As far as being functional, I almost thought about taking this out and doing the square, because what I really want to do, okay, let me start this story again. I really wanted to try this stitch pattern, and that's what I've been doing with my dishcloths, is just trying out different stitch patterns. And as I started this, I'm thinking, I don't know how functional this pattern will actually be for a dishcloth. If it could just be too stretchy, and then when it gets wet in the dishwash water, or if you're using it as a spa cloth in the shower, it may just stretch all out. But I don't know. I may just keep going, and it has double yarn overs, which is that how you can kind of see there's the yarn over, and then it has purl 3 togethers. So I've only done 2 stitch patterns on here, so it's a little hard to see the pattern. And I think, like I started to say before, with any kind of lace, you really need to pull it out and block it, to actually get the full effect. But this is a pattern I had knit up quite a number of years ago, and I came across it again, and this is really just a practice, just to get familiar with the stitch, to see if I like knitting the stitch again, because I have a much bigger project planned for this stitch pattern. And even just doing these 2 rows, so it is a 4-row repeat, so I've only done 8 rows. I'm actually really quite liking it. Normally, I'm not a big fan of purl 3 togethers. If anybody had asked me, what would be something that would be my least favorite stitch to do, would probably be a purl 3 together. But I find if you have really pointy needles, that helps. If you're using a blunt needle trying to wiggle it through 3 stitches, it can be really tough, and it can be tricky enough that you may want to just put the project down and not even worry about it. But the needles that I'm using for this, these are my love, did anybody notice this as I was holding it up, that my needles didn't match? I have been knitting, I don't know, for the last couple months with these 2 needles. They're both knit picks. They are actually both the same length. They are just different colors, because that is as close as I could get to a matching pair. So they're both a 3.5 millimeter. Oh my gosh, they are not. Well, they're not. I thought I was knitting with a pair of 3.5s. One is a 3.5 and one is a 3.75. Oops. So one is a US 4 and one is a US 5. Okay, well, obviously that doesn't matter too much. I mean, this is just a dishcloth, but, and I can't say as I've ever actually measured my gauge on a dishcloth. You know me, I'm like the queen of, swearing by gauge, but I've never worried about a dishcloth. I think all my dishcloths have knit up lovely, even though apparently one has been a size bigger than I thought. Who knew? I guess I should have looked a little closer at my needles. Anyways, well, I don't know. Maybe I'll see if I can actually find a matching set. I'm just going to carry on for this lace. Okay, where was I? Okay, I guess my second cast on for today. And this actually is going to be pulled out because I was playing around with this. I pulled out these two colors from my stash, a gray and a yellow. And this yellow, if you watched me do the burn test on the yarn back a couple of months ago now, probably, this was the yellow that I was checking to see if it was wool or acrylic. So I'm matching it up with this gray. And I thought, because I'm liking doing the bubble scarf, so I'm doing another double knit project. I'm kind of winging it, and as you can tell here, I think I have too many stitches on my needle. I kind of guessed. I went on to, actually what I did was I went on to Pinterest. I just typed in Daisy Intarsia stitch, and one popped up. I loved it. So I'm going to use that as a guide to put a daisy on here. So as you can see on this side, I've got a gray side, and I have the double side. The second side is yellow. So great. Oh my goodness. A yellow side and a gray side. So obviously the yellow side will have a gray flower, and the gray side will have a yellow flower. I think I said that right, didn't I? Anyways, the charted pattern for the flower is 20 stitches wide. And I thought, because I was kind of thinking, right, a dishcloth, 20 stitches isn't going to be wide enough. And then I thought, I'll put five stitches on either side. That would be 30. Well, not really thinking that I'd gone up a needle size. And this yarn, I think it's more like an Aran weight, and the yellow, I don't know if you can tell on the screen, but the yellow is just a smidgen bit thicker than the gray, which I'm not really going to worry about. So maybe the gray, I would say, is the worsted, and the yellow is more of an Aran. Anyways, that between and combined with the fact that I'm using a 5mm needle, this is where this is the size 30 stitches has, which is way bigger. That this would be like a hot mat is what I'm thinking of using it for, and I don't need it that big. So I'm just going to pull this all out. I'm going to take off 8 stitches, I think. I'm just gonna I'll have my 20 for the flower and maybe put 2 stitches on either end instead of 5. That means I'll be taking off 6 stitches. I don't know. I'm gonna play around with it. But I like the gray and the yellow together. I did a long tail cast on, alternating colors. So that is what the cast on looks like. So I cast on there. It kind of gives you like a braided look almost. There's a yellow, there's a gray, there's a yellow, there's a gray, yellow, gray, yellow, gray. It has a really cool look to it. It does twist the yarn. There's no way of getting around that. You just, every once in a while, probably about at least halfway through, I stopped and just manually untwisted all my yarns because they were wound around each other. But I think the needle size might be all right. I maybe could go down a needle size. I might do that. I might try to find a 4.5. Take off a couple of stitches off the edge and give it a go again. So we'll just call this my sample gauge, because gauge, we're all talking about size and the feel of the fabric. Definitely too big, and might be a little loose. It could be a little snugger. That's just going to be personal preference. I mean, it's not too bad because you're not seeing the gray. On the yellow side, you're not seeing the gray pop through. Yes, I don't know. Anyways, it's fun. I guess always follow your gut. because I'm questioning and trying to talk to myself, is it good, is it not good? I'm going to take that as a sign that I'm questioning myself. And so I think I will grab a 4.5 millimeter needle and just give it a whirl again, because you're never going to know about gauge unless you have something to compare it to. I may think this looks good, but once I start cast on with the 4.5, I may find that the 4.5 looks a whole lot better. So I think that's what I'll do. I think I'll pull this off. But you know what? Even though I knew once I had the stitches cast on and I looked at it, and I knew once I did a couple of rows, it was kind of, it would pull together and it would be a little smaller. But I still knew that I had too many stitches on here, but I couldn't stop knitting it because really double knitting is quite fun. So I did a couple of rows just to show you and just to get a better idea of how wide it actually was. And I will give it a go again, which I am not at all upset about having to pull it out because I really, really like knitting this. And it's going to have a flower on it. And one side is going to have a yellow flower, so, which is, it could not be, you know, this is like the most perfect pattern for me. So I'm really excited to knit it. I don't want to make any promises, but I'm like, fingers crossed that maybe, oh, sorry. I built a lamp over here to try to get the lighting better. And anyways, I have this thingy on it, which like a wind chime kind of thing. That's what you just heard. Okay, sweater knitting. All right, everybody. I had a lot of fun with my sweater this weekend. I did a lot of knitting. I did a lot of gardening. I just worked back and forth. I did some sitting outside and working on this sweater. Okay, let me show you the pattern. Remember the magazine that I bought maybe about a month ago? It's still on the newsstands. It was in the store today. Knit Simple. It's the spring-summer issue for this year, 2020. This is the pattern I'm knitting, the cover sweater. When I showed this to you last week, I was on the back. It's knit in pieces, so there's a front and the back. And I think I was about partway done. I think I had the waist shaping done. Anyways, look at this. I have a completed back. Just like that. There are the shoulders, the neck shaping, and the armhole shaping. It worked pretty good. Now, I know in the comments a couple weeks ago, I was talking about the fact that I have hardly ever knit patterns out of magazines. I buy the magazines all the time. I look at the patterns. I think, oh, this would be fun to knit. And then I never actually get around to doing it. So this was kind of thinking, you know, I bought this magazine, I'm going to make use of it. I really like the pattern, so I cast on. I'm not sure who left the comment, but somebody said that they don't knit for magazines very often because they don't like how the patterns are written up. That they're sometimes they're condensed because they need to make room. They take out some of the detail in the pattern. This one so far has been fine. Haven't found any mistakes in it. And the only thing that was maybe a little bit unclear was when we did get up to the shoulder shaping. And that's where probably in other patterns that might have had an extra 2 rows in there, just to clarify, because I did do the last couple of rows of shaping here for the neck, I did on a purl side, which most often, I mean, most of the time you do your shaping on a knit row usually, but this one was done on a purl row. So I could tell, I could see if somebody was an inexperienced sweater knitter, they might think, don't I usually do these kind of things, these decreased rows on a knit side? And they might guess, you know, think, well, should I be knitting across a row to get back on a knit and then work the extra decreases on either side of the neck? I didn't, because I didn't want that one row. Sometimes you'll hear me say, you know, an extra stitch here or there or an extra row here or there isn't really going to matter, but sometimes it does. And in this case was one of those ones where I felt that it would, because the neck is very smooth decreasing along here. And I felt if I did that one row, even just one row, would just give it enough of a straight edge. There'd be some decreases along here, a straight edge, and then more decreases. So I just opted to do the decreases on the purl side, and I think it turned out quite well. I think it's good so far. Width-wise is good. My gauge did not lie. It looks like I'm on track. The measurement for the armhole was good. I was tempted to modify it and make it a little longer, but I thought, no, I'm going to just trust the pattern and follow the pattern. So I didn't. Now this here, I'm going to cast off on the front differently than I did here. See how it is not very smooth here. We have this big bump here because I figured out what the exact number was, but it was something like 7. On this first row, I cast off 7 stitches and then knit across, came back, and then on the next row, it was like 3 stitches. And see how you get that stair step? Like it's really pronounced. There is a way that you can do those cast off stitches so they do look nice and smooth, just like that. Patterns I don't think I've ever come across a pattern that how it tells you to do that. That's just something as an experienced knitter. Once you know that technique, you can just modify that when you do the shaping. So we'll talk about that when I get to the front, to the armhole shaping. And I will do that in the, I'm not even sure what the exact term is for it right now. I know what I'm thinking about. I've done it before on other sweaters, but this one I just followed the pattern. So this will give us something to chat about, I don't know, in a week, maybe 2 weeks. We'll see. We'll see how much sweater knitting I get done. But this is the really exciting part. I'm not finished with the sweater. I have more to show you. Look at this. I cast on for the front. Okay, now I am knitting this on a little 16-inch needle, so I want to try to not drop any stitches off. But if I do, it's not the end of the world. I'll just pick them up. But look at this, everybody. I have got lace. Look at that. There, I think you can see when I hold it like that. This is such a simple lace pattern. You know, if you are new to lace knitting, this would be a fantastic little project for you to work lace on because there is only one repeat. It's only what, 14 stitches, 16, 12, 34, I think it's 16 stitches between my 2 markers. There is stockinette, and then we've got 2 purl stitches on either side to help define where the lace is, and then 12 stitches of lace. It cannot be any easier. Yarn overs, knit 2 together, slip knits. Just your basic foundation of lace knitting. And you get this cute little pattern. So that is that. I had to stop myself from knitting on this because I just wanted to keep going. Not the only problem, but the only thing with this one is that I do need to keep track of rows because I am also doing some waist shaping at the same time. So I'm knitting so many rows and then I'm decreasing on either edge. Then I do some straight knitting, decrease again. At the same time, just following, I think it's an 8-row repeat for the lace pattern. So it's not too tricky, but you just have to keep track of your rows. So I've got the front done. So we'll see. I don't know. I'll try to see if I can get it up to the armhole shaping, and then we can talk about that. A nice smooth decrease on the front side of this. And then I'll be mattress stitching it up, and then I will be wearing it. It's warm enough out now. I could definitely be wearing it. It might even be too hot for a cotton sweater. It is pretty hot. For just the end of May, it was, I think, 31 degrees here today. It was sweltering, might be a good term. It was hot, but I am not complaining because last weekend was freezing, freezing cold and rainy and just terrible. We've gone from one extreme to the other. The sun was out, it's warm, it felt like summer today. It was a wonderful day. That is what I have been knitting this week, everybody. What have you been working on? Are you starting anything new this week? Are you close to finishing anything? Oh, and speaking of finishes, can you believe it? This Friday is the last Friday in May. May has come and gone. The weeks seem to go by so quickly right now. I will be doing another video on Friday. It is a Finish Friday. It will be May's Finish Friday video. And let me tell you, I have got lots of ball bands to show you. I have got quite a few finished projects. This has been a really productive month, and I still have a week to go. So we'll see what I can, I don't know. I don't know. I might have to get in some extra hours of knitting to see if I can get a couple more finishes for Friday's video. But anyways, leave me some comments down below. Let me know what you're working on this week, what kind of progress you've been making. I really do enjoy chatting to you in the comments and seeing what you're casting on, if it's socks or sweaters or Christmas gifts. Yeah, just let me know what you're working on and I will keep you updated. You can follow me on Instagram if you want to know what my daily progress is. If you saw this morning's post, you would have seen that I had posted the colors that I had picked out for the new Start Monday knits. I think that's it. So thank you so much, everybody, for subscribing and for following and for commenting, and have a fantastic week. I will see you back here on Friday to show off the finishes. And then I will see you back here again next Monday with 2 new starts. Have a fantastic week, everybody. Happy knitting.